Good morning, beloveds. Today is a both and day. Um, you are allowed to be both happy and sad. You are allowed to be, you can have more than one emotion today. And I say that because it is Valentine's Day. So I'd like to wish you a happy Valentine's Day. Wherever you fall on Valentine's Day. I have my own, long and storied relationship with Valentine's Day, which I'm not going to go into here. But I'm also, when I say both and, because, it is Valentine's Day. There are people who still have Valentine's Day. There are people who've never had Valentine's, and there are people their Valentines have passed on. This could be a difficult day, but it is also because I'm going to ask you for prayer requests for Michigan State University, because there was a shooting, and right now, unfortunately, the shooter also killed himself. So as of right now, they have no idea why. And that's very hard. Why? But, so that's why I say it's a both and day. I watched after they did that part of I watched the Today Show in the morning. And so that's the story they started with at 8:00. And then towards the end of the show, they had this amazing segment of, I think 6 couples got engaged. And they did it in such a way that they threw to different places. And so none of the couples knew that, they thought, the women thought they were there to ask a question. Maybe it had to do with Valentine's Day. I assume it had to do something with Valentine's Day. And so that was beautiful to watch. Because, it was beautiful to watch. So it's both and day. You are human. You are a spiritual being having human experience. You are allowed to have both and days anytime you need to. So let's get into what the reading is. And obviously the reading was picked for Valentine's Day. So it is February 14th. Our title is The Golden Tapestry of Love. The first quote is, "And now abideth faith, hope, charity, these 3, but the greatest of these is charity." And that is 1 Corinthians 13:13. The second quote is, "Love is the divine givingness. Love is spontaneous." And that is Science of Mind, page 43. Okay. Love is the golden thread woven into the lessons we must learn while treading the spiritual path. It is love and love alone which breaks down these barriers to our development, unlocking the hidden treasure within us. Love performs another important role. It makes us sensitive to the needs and feelings of others. Operating out of love, we are able to not only empathize more, but anticipate the needs of others and work to fulfill those needs. It is not incumbent upon us to return the same love to others that we have been so blessed to receive from our divine source. Is it not incumbent upon us to return the same love to others that we have been so blessed to receive from our divine source? I wanted to make sure I read that line right. The only life truly worth living is that of selfless service. To give no thought of personal gain is true giving. Love cannot be stored away for some special occasion. It must flow out from us in an ever-widening circle, enclosing all whom we touch in life. Ernest Holmes tells us, as we gain the broader viewpoint, we shall see that life must contain 2 fundamental characteristics. We shall see that there is an infinite spirit operating through an infinite and immutable law. In this, cosmos, and not chaos, finds an eternal existence in reality. Love points the way, and law makes it possible. Let us pledge to live our lives in such a way that love fills our every act and thought. Spirit pours love into my soul. I forge myself. No, I forget myself and think only about how I may serve. I turn within for all supply. My world is covered with such rich beauty. I live a gracious life of centered peace. I unconditionally share myself with others. there's an idea of reciprocity. Okay. And Ernest, I think, has argued and would continue to argue that the universe runs on reciprocity. And so, that was SB, Shirley Briggs. And I think Shirley Briggs alluded to this idea of reciprocity. When we give of ourselves to others with no thought of receiving in kind, the universe will reward us, but it's going to come from different sources. Okay. So when we give of ourselves, expecting something from the person that we are giving to, it's a transaction. It's not actually a loving action. It's a transaction because we're expecting something in return. But the amazing thing with the way the universe works is you have very sharp, pointy claws. Can I have my arm back? Okay. Thank you. Foster, by the way. When we give of ourselves with no thought to reward, then it ceases to be a transactional relationship, and the universe always brings back to us what we have given out, but it brings it back to us from an infinite number of sources. And when you are looking for a loving relationship, that's not what you want to hear. And I know that, and I get that. But as long as we are focused on the transaction of the relationships, we're never going to get what we want. And that's with any relationship. That is with absolutely any relationship. It's not just, a partner relationship, a romantic partner relationship. When we are in a parent and child relationship, if we treat it as a transactional relationship, I give you this, therefore you do this for me, you're never going to be completely happy. Now, when you are dealing with children, you absolutely do need to teach them, and you do have to expect things from them, and children have the right to expect things from their parents. But in the grand scheme of things, what you want to be teaching is to give without expectation. And here's where we're going to talk about Buddhists. Buddhists have this idea of loving kindness, because they recognized that all suffering comes from attachment. So when you give something with an expectation of receiving something back and you don't get it back, you will suffer. So that's where the most loving kind thing that you can do is give without the expectation of receiving. But knowing that you will receive, it just may not come back from the source you were expecting it to. Yeah. That'll make your head spin. And I will remind you that this is coming from a woman who never intended to get married, absolutely never wanted to, and has been in a relationship for over 30 years. Okay? Growing up, this was not what I wanted. It was not what I wanted. To some degree, it had to do with, because the relationships around me, I didn't want that. And here's the interesting thing. I didn't get that. When I look at the relationships around me, I did not get the relationships around me. I got something different. And that's where, it's like, I didn't rush into a relationship because I needed it. I kind of ended up in a relationship that I tried to avoid for a very long time, but that's a whole nother story. So the universe will provide you a whole lot of love. It's probably not going to look like what you think you want. And that's all I can say about that. But I am going to remind you that when you give with the expectation, one, it's not a relationship, it's a transaction. And two, that's where you open yourself up to suffering. The idea is to practice giving without the expectation of receiving, knowing that it will come back to you through reciprocity. It just may not come back the way you expect, and definitely not from the source you expect. And then frequently it does come back from the source that you expect it to. That's the beautiful thing about love. Okay. So love is the golden thread woven into the lessons we must learn, and that's one of the things that we've been hearing, is that love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love is all there is. Almost all emotions. And that was one of the most beautiful things that I heard somebody say in the memorial service yesterday, is one of the wisdoms of Ruth is it's all love. And almost all of our emotions can be pulled down to an abundance of love or an absence of love, and the degrees in between. It's an interesting way to think about it. And a whole lot of people do a whole lot of things in the absence of love. It is love and love alone which breaks down those barriers in our development, unlocking the hidden treasure within us. And it's attributed to Martin Luther King. I believe I will love because hate is too great of a burden to bear. So, and love performs another important role. It makes us sensitive to the needs and feelings of others. Operating out of love, we are able to not only empathize more, but anticipate the needs of others and work to fulfill those needs. Is it not incumbent upon us to return the same love to others that we have been so blessed to receive? That's that line that I was like, when you have been loved greatly, then you can love greatly. And so that's one of those things. And if you can love greatly, you will be loved greatly. It may not look like what you expect, and that's the point I'm going to keep making. It may not look like what you expect, but and then she gets off into the selfless service. To give with no thought of personal gain is truly giving. It also, when you give with no thought of personal gain, again, takes away the transactional nature of the relationship and lessens the chance for suffering. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't suffer. Any great love is going to come with suffering. It just is, because it's an attachment. But if you will reduce your expectation, that will reduce the suffering. And you can reduce expectation in any loving relationship. And the other thing is if you want to reduce hurt feelings, speak your needs clearly and often. And if you are with a partner that cannot meet those needs, then, one, you might want to rethink the relationship. And two, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, then maybe you have some work to do, and what I'm going to remind you, and maybe this is where I will end this, is that there is no one person that can meet all of your needs. There's no one person who can meet all of your needs. That is why we live in community. Okay? So, bear that in mind. The mission today, should we choose to accept it? I don't know. She gives you one. Shirley does. The mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to pledge our lives in such a way that to pledge to live our lives in such a way that love fills our every act and thought. That's the mission today. That we live our lives in such a way that love fills our every act and thought. Okay? So, I'm going to immediately follow that up by reminding you the spiritual practice, doing something loving for yourself, doing something kind for yourself, doing something compassionate for yourself. Self-care is one of the most loving, kind, and compassionate things that you can do for the world. Absolutely. For the starting point of, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So if you take care of yourself, then you can go out and love others. And you can love them in ways that are appropriate. to them. Because if you have taken care of yourself, then you are not seeking to fulfill your needs through other people. It's Valentine's Day and I'm being kind of harsh on love. But because it is one of my passions. It is one of my passions to teach people how to have relationships with one another in which everybody's needs get met and nobody is left wanting. And by starting out recognizing self-care is important, loving yourself is important, recognizing that you cannot have all of your needs met by one person, that you need a community. That's what friends are for. Your romantic partner cannot meet all of your needs and shouldn't have to. That is too great of a burden to bear. And that's what friends are for. So, I told you it was a both and day. I love love, but we got to be real about it. We got to be real about it. If we are going to pledge our lives so that every act and thought is filled with love, then we got to understand what love is, where it comes from, understand that there is a divine source that we can plug into. And the most loving, kind, and compassionate thing we can do for ourselves is to go there regularly. And it is in the center of our own being. We are channels for that love into this world. And let go of our expectations. That really, honestly, right there is one of the most loving, kind, and compassionate things you can do for yourself and others, to let go of your expectations. Okay? And you know what I mean, within reason. We still have deadlines to meet and jobs to do. But love, kindness, compassion. Practice on yourself. Practice on yourself. Take care of yourself. Fill your cup up. And then you can pour from that out into the other. Then we can live that life of service. And remember that I do say it's self-care. I make no bones about it being self-care. I encourage you to take deep breaths. I encourage you to take naps. I encourage you to take walks. I encourage you to rest. I encourage you to take days off. That's all love, kindness, and compassion. Getting up and exercising, eating a healthy meal. All of that is love, kindness, and compassion. But I also want you to remember that it's also about making room for joy. All right. When you make room for joy, you remember life is a special occasion. Treat it as such. Eat dessert first. Don't save the good stuff. Wear the nice clothes. Go to the fun places. Eat the good food. Drink the good stuff. Use the good china. Break out the silverware. Don't save the good stuff. Make room for joy. It's a both and day. Okay. Moving on into the rest of it, I do encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. I do encourage you to drink plenty of water. Hydration is important. Your brain will work better when it is well hydrated. I do encourage you to get early in your morning bright light. It's cloudy and rainy and nasty and wet this morning and hot. Ugh. So artificial light does count. It's about circadian rhythms. That hormone balance, if you get that early in your day bright light, it will help to reset that hormone rhythm. You will have more energy during the day. You will sleep better at night. So please do avail yourself of early in your day bright light. Notice I say early in your day. So if you get up before the sun, artificial light. If you get up after the sun, go get some sunshine. Or if it's raining, artificial light. It is science. You can look it up. All right. Big believer in it. And so we've talked about the golden tapestry of love. So here's where I say, it's a quote from Inner Psalms, to open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. Okay? Because it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. If we pledge our lives to live with love through every act and thought, that looks like heaven. You know, if everything I think, do, and say is filled with love, then that's heaven for me. And as the people around me learn, you know, because I'm a safe place, and they learn to create heaven for themselves, then that's how we create heaven on earth. Absolutely. Each person's got to do it for themselves. But once you learn how to do it once, heaven ceases to be heaven ceases to be a place and becomes any place. And more importantly, it can become every place. So I know you have people in your life who are heaven when you are around them. Seek that. Learn their secrets. Learn their secrets. And one of the secrets that I can tell you they're doing their spiritual work every single day. Every single day. All right. And as always, you can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. It's a quick and easy way to get this process started. Okay. I didn't say it was a quick and easy way to do it. I just said it's a good way to get it started. So, all right. Moving into, I think I'm at the part where I remind you that the social media, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I'm the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. And then if you want to know what's going on in the center, please email info@creativelife.org. Because things are always changing. We had a soul session scheduled tomorrow that we're super excited about. And then the person that we're doing the soul session with had a conflicting commitment come up. And so we were like, that's fine. We will reschedule. So keep an eye out for that. The information was changed on Facebook so that we knew that. And then we'll move into when we know when it's been rescheduled. I put a tentative rescheduled date on it. We'll let you know for sure. And that's how you can do it. It's a constant contact. So if you've signed up for it and you're not seeing it, check your spam filter. It's constant contact. So email info@creativelife.org. The hot links in those are hot. They will tell you, if you click here now, they will take you either right to the information or to the person that can help you get it. So please avail yourself of that resource. Where am I? I'm at the part where I remind you I encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a heart-filled day, a loving day, an amazing day, an awesome day, day filled with hearts. And if it needs to be a day filled with tears, that's okay too. All right? Because right now the sky is crying. I can hear it. It's raining. Go dance in the rain day. I don't hear any thunder, so today would be safe for that. Be gentle with yourself day. Take the extra time you need today. Reach out to the people that you can day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. All right. I've said before, and I will continue to say, you are a beloved child of God. You are a brilliant light. You are a divine spark. You are spirit in motion. You are God in action. You are a godling in whom God is well pleased and well represented. Always. It's the truth of your being. So when we look the facts in the face, we see the truth behind it. That's the truth behind it. The reality of you. You are made by God, of God, for God. And you are amazing. All right. So, moving on. I got to get into the process of my day. Take care of yourself. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.